where are you from? Tell me about yourself.
Definitely. From Syracuse, New York. Born and raised. Did some living on the West Coast, California. Tried to do the acting thing for a couple years, and
were you in anything? Like, were you?
I
Like
tried. I sure tried to be on a couple of things. I feel like a couple of things tried to be on me. But you know, I went out there. I had an agent, had the manager, and I auditioned for every Disney CW show you can think of.
How old were you when you went out there?
I was 19 years old, packed my car, withdrew from college, drove across the country in a 97 Buick Skylark with my pop. And he left the day after we arrived in California.
Yeah.
I had to take him to the airport, and I was on my own. That was
Damn.
it. Just moved across the country. I knew one person, and that was basically it. I moved my life and took a shot at it. So it was good. It's good.
So you're growing up in Syracuse, and then you're like, "Fuck, I want to be a movie star. I want to be a star."
Man, I wish that it were that simple. No, I was in Syracuse from the time I was probably 11 years old. I actually was pretty convinced that I was going to run for president someday, and so
to be the president of the United States.
President of the United States. I had small dreams at that point in time in my life. I always have small dreams. You know, as they say, shoot for the moon, right?
I guess so.
Shoot for the moon. Small
That's
dreams.
funny.
And I was trying to be president to the max. So like I carried pocket constitutions.
For real?
I kid you not. I wish I was kidding you. I wish I could tell you that I don't have like 4 copies of pocket constitutions at home at this moment.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I do. Yeah, no, I thought I was going to be run for president. I wanted to help people. I wanted to try to just change the world.
Yeah.
That was my main, again, small goals. Just wanted to change the world. And I was, from the time I was like 12 years old, I'd been diagnosed with Crohn's when I was actually 9, but I got really sick. Actually in my 12, 13, 14 year range.
Can you explain Crohn's?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
What is Crohn's?
Yeah. Crohn's disease is a digestive disease, chronic illness, that affects the entire digestive tract, all the way from the esophagus all the way through.
And what's happening?
So it's like ulcers, tears in the intestinal lining. It has so many different symptoms and consequences that kind of result from, malnutrition, iron deficiency, anemia. So from the time I was 9 years old, I found myself in hospital rooms. I was one of the only child cases documented in the area. And I was actually on the news at one point being interviewed about it. And I found myself, really sick, and I couldn't play sports. And so my parents had a rule, and the rule was if we don't care what you do as far as activities, but if you're going to be in our house, you have to have straight A's if possible, and you have to do something. And so I couldn't play sports. The next option was I had to get involved with choir and drama club.
Yeah, liberal arts.
Right?
Stuff,
liberal arts. I had to kind of escape into the arts. And
you feel like that helped? Like, so you're 9 years old.
Absolutely.
You got like your shit's fucked up, and you're like, what's wrong with me? What's going on?
Yeah.
Your parents bring you to the doctors to come to find out. He's got the digestion.
Yeah. Well, the craziest part about it was I started really getting sick when I was about 7. And I was very athletic. And I literally went to football practice one day, and I passed out. We didn't know why.
Damn.
And it turned out that my intestines had swollen and were pressing up against my lungs.
Jeez.
And so it felt like I had asthma.
Yeah.
And I passed out in a hot football
Yeah.
practice, you
Yeah.
know. But it took about 2 years till they found out what was happening. Parents thought I had leukemia or cancer.
Yeah, the worst. Yeah.
Because I looked bad.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I hate to use the word gross, but I mean, I had the bloated belly. I was pale all the time, skinny arms. I looked like E.T.
Damn. Jeez.
I looked like I was an E.T. looking mother trucker. I looked pretty sick.
Yeah.
You know, we found out that I had Crohn's a couple years later.
Yeah. And then, okay, so you find out you have Crohn's, you're on 9.
Yeah.
So what is the medicine or how do you treat Crohn's at 9 years old?
Yeah. Well, that's actually right there is actually the biggest problem, because at the time they didn't really have medicines for kids.
Yeah, because this is like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were, first of all, there were no doctors for children. There were no pediatric gastroenterologists, right?
Jeez.
So I would have to fly to New York City. We had to do that a couple times, and then we had to like drive and see specialists.
Yeah.
And then I had to have a doctor, an adult gastroenterologist in upstate New York, literally sign on to take me under their care.
Damn.
Dr. Markham, and she agreed to take me on as a case. But I was trial and error for
Right?
treatment.
Yeah, it's just like testings, right? Just
Yeah, they
testing
literally
shit.
were
Yeah.
testing medicine on me.
Yeah.
Like literally, I kid you not, like half of the reason I'm so jacked up now, I'm 35 years old.
Yeah, because they just kept fucking with you. Like
They
you were
just
some, like,
they
rat
were
in a
just
lab,
trying
yeah.
things out.
Let's try that. Let's poke them here. Let's twist them here.
A perfect example. They had me on this drug, prednisone.
Yeah, I've heard of prednisone.
Right? A
yeah.
lot of people use
Is that
prednisone.
an
It's a
antibiotic?
steroid.
A steroid, yeah.
It is a low-grade steroid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If there were to be a warning label, it would literally say, "Don't give this to kids."
Jeez.
Right? I was on prednisone from the time I was like 12 or 13, probably until I was like 18.
Damn. And so what did that do to you? What kind of effect does that have on?
Oh, it jacked me up.
Just
Jacked up my bone density, growth issues,
just stunted shit.
just stunted growth. I didn't grow until I hit college. Like I was like short. I was breaking bones all the time.
From steroids. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You would think it would have the opposite effect.
I wish
That a steroid.
I'd be a lot cooler if it did.
So steroid, so that type of, because it's not necessarily an anabolic steroid, right?
Right.
It's a
different.
type of
It's a
steroid.
different thing. It just
Yeah.
basically helps quiet down inflammation, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it just kind of helped with that, and it was the only option. There were no medicine. Like there was a couple drugs I won't even name on here because no one cares.
Yeah.
But they threw me on steroids, and they threw me on a couple other weak grade medicines, and they said, "Let's hope for the best."
Wow. All right, so you're pretty much jacked from 12 to 18, just going through just course after course of medicines and trials and errors and just that whole game. And as you're doing that, now you're like, your parents are like, all right, let's get you into something. You got to do something.
Yep.
You know, kick ass in school, which is very difficult at that age as it is. But now you have all this disease, disease riddled body. So you find art, you find music.
Find music, and I fall in love
Yeah.
with music and performance.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had joined I tried to get into like playing in bands as I got a little bit older, and I did.
Yeah.
But arts were my escape.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I fell in love. Like, and I started getting into every single school play or drama thing, and I was the popular kid. They put me in every character role that they possibly could because I just wanted the hardest challenge.
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, and I noticed that they're, at least with my kids, my daughter, she was really into theater for a while. She still wants to be an actress and all that, but notice there's much, there are many more females than males in adolescent theater.
Yeah.
Right, in the drama club, like there's like the 3 boys,
Yep.
and then it's like 30 girls.
Yeah.
Right. Was that like that when you were a kid? Like, where was it more balanced, or were you like the guy? Like,
Yeah.
you were like, so you always started all the things because you had the most ambition. Because they have that. Like, she has like the guy.
Yeah.
And the high school boy, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's the lead and everything. But it's more like, because there's like 2 others.
Right. So I'm kind of an asshole. And so I, first of all, on the singing level, I wanted to make sure I sang the loudest I possibly could, because I just wanted to be a jerk. I'm a jerk.
Well,
I'm a jerk.
And you wanted to be the star. You wanted to.
I wanted to be the
take it,
star. But I loved it, and it turned out I guess objectively speaking, or I think art should always be subjective.
Sure.
But like objectively, I was in a competition in New York State,
rating wise,
and I was rated
statistically. Yeah,
I was rated number 7 in New York State for tenor 1.
Yeah, that's wild. This is in high school.
In high school, and in New York State.
Yeah.
And
is that like NISMA and stuff and all
yeah,
that?
yeah. You nailed it.
Yeah.
And that was cool. But like, what happened was, I noticed when I started, I was the guy in the choir, and it seemed like I was the only one. But before long, everyone like laughed at me, or because I'm the kid that's singing too loud, or I'm the kid. And it wasn't just singing off tune. Like, I wasn't awful. I was okay, I guess.
Yeah,
but I just sang
boisterous
loud,
and
boisterous,
you were out
loud,
there.
courageous. You know,
like you're supposed to be in theater.
Right.
Yeah.
Like my choir professor always said, like, if you don't know a part, sing it louder.
That's true. Because as soon as you get that confidence in singing, it just comes out. Sing without confidence and you sound like ass.
Yes.
Just sing it like you don't give a fuck.
That's it.
Then it comes out.
Because how are you going to get corrected if you're hiding?
That's right.
Like if you're so afraid to mess up, if you're so afraid to fail.
Yeah. Well, and you clam up, right? Like I noticed singing, like when 100% act like you know it.
Yeah.
Before you know it. Like
Absolutely.
Before you sing it, you know it.
Yep.
And if you can sing with that type of confidence, you're already up.
Because
now your tone and your throat loosens.
Right.
You start singing from your chest. You're not singing from your nose, your nasal cavity, and your head and all that shit. And you're singing from your diaphragm.
Yeah.
Right. It's coming from here.
That's right.
Because you're just hitting it.
Yep.
It might be off.
Right.
But it's not going to be weak. It's
not
going to
gonna
be
be weak.
scratchy, you know?
Yep.
So it's like, 100%.
And then like the people that care about you, that know what they're talking about, they can hear you enough where they can correct you when you're wrong.
Yeah, you're a little sharp. You're a little flat.
Yeah. Hey, you sang that part a little bit off tempo.
Yep.
Little, not quite my tempo with Flash quote. Love that movie. Best movie. Yeah. And so, I started doing that. And before long, more bros, so to speak, started singing a little louder.
Yeah.
Before I knew it, by the time I was a senior, in high school, there was a good like 10 to 15 really strong singing guys in a small school.
What do they call like a quartet or whatever? No, the barbershop
we
quartet
had
or whatever.
We had tons of extra
4,
stuff.
5, 6 part harmonies and all that kind of
barbershop
cool
quartets
stuff.
and stuff like that. Yeah, we were able to do a ton of things that my choir professor never thought we'd be able to do because he just never thought he'd have
that many
enough
bodies.
guys. And it was really cool. And the same thing happened with drama. First year I stuck out because I was the only one that went all in.
Yeah.
I mean, I just was all in, unabashedly.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here I am.
And, Yeah. So, which is kind of wild though, if you think about it. So you're this ET looking little kid.
Yeah, I was not attractive.
From hospital to hospital, just kind of like just sounding how you're describing yourself, sounding weak.
Yep.
Definitely someone that could not be very ambitious, driven. let alone outgoing and belting and over the top singing, to be told to quiet down, to say you're too loud. Like, it seems opposite, right? Why do you think that, like, what happened there from being sick and being in that state to being the loudest one in the choir? Like, what was that transition? Like, how did that, like, because I would imagine it would be the opposite. You don't even want to get up on stage. You know, you don't want people to look at you. You don't, like, especially at that age, so young, and you're just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
That's it.
So can you like pinpoint, like?
Yeah, absolutely. I love being doubted. Doubt me.
Even at that age,
I loved it.
So like, it was something you were born with.
I don't know if I was born with it, but I sure as hell know that it was in me from a young age.
Like, you can't really remember.
I don't remember what the moment was, but I've always enjoyed being an underdog. And if you ever want to get me to do something, tell me I can't.
Yeah.
Trust me, you bet on me, I will show up.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate it because sometimes I just wish I would do it, not be such a hardhead, you know?
Interesting. So that's like it. Like, so the motive, what pushes you the most, is what, maybe not the most, but definitely a huge motive is the lack of confidence of others, right? People are expecting you to fail.
Yeah.
People expecting you to lose.
Thrive
Like, you're
on
not going to make it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do this. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then that creates this fire in your ass.
Yes.
That's like, fuck everybody.
Fuck it.
It's like almost.
I eat that for breakfast.
Like a warrior almost.
I eat
right?
that for breakfast. That is my fuel.
That's interesting.
I love it. And I mean, I'm a human like anybody else. Like,
Sure.
I'd much rather have people that, you know, believe in me and love me and care for me.
Yeah.
But there is something in me that comes alive when I'm doubted and when someone tells me I can't do something. And so, yeah, man, I've always wanted to prove people wrong.
I think it's like, it seems like a pretty common theme among great humans, right? Michael Jordan, you know, he got cut from his ninth grade basketball team or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. High
And, like,
school. Yeah.
Just that whole, like, we've heard it, that same statement.
Yeah.
Like, tell me I can't do it and watch me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's interesting where does that derive from? Like, I wonder if because, like, sometimes, of course, there's parental, right? When you're that age, if you're taking that at 10, where you're like, fuck everybody, tell me I can't do it. Like, you would imagine if you, like, maybe a dad that is a little hard on you, or a mom that's hard on you, or the opposite, a dad that's ignoring you, a mom that's abandoning you. Not saying that has happened, but it's like, there was some sort of familiar. I'm not asking this question. It's more generic.
Yeah.
You don't have to share it.
Yeah.
Like, was there some familial trauma that inspired that and turned that to where it seems like it could go both ways, where that mentality where doubt me and I'm gonna fucking kill it. It could be, I just want to prove everybody wrong, that I am what I am, and prove it to myself, meaning like an internal war going on, or it could also be the external, where I want everybody to see how fucking great I am.
Yeah.
Right. Where it's like that need of the outward approval to have worth, so that the world knows that I'm fucking great.
Right.
Everybody knows. All my Eminem.
Yeah.
Is like one of you listen to any Eminem song, he's always talking about, like, he just wanted the recognition. He wanted people to know he's fucking amazing, know he's fucking great. And it seems like that was his fuel.
Yeah.
Like, you're nothing, you're this white boy, you're not going to make it, and he just fucking just killed it, right?
Yep.
And so it's interesting, proving to yourself that you can do it.
Right.
And at the same time showing everybody else you're fucking wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that and mom spaghetti. You know what I mean? Just mom spaghetti. Dinner already. Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, that's so interesting to me, like, where that fire.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, for me, I think number one, I was basically most raised by who I call my dad. some people would call it a stepdad, but he's my dad.
Sure, yeah.
He really raised me.
Yeah.
And he taught me from a young age, question everything.
That's great advice.
Question everything.
Yeah.
Never just sign up and
that's
agree.
fucking great.
Like always ask questions, be curious, question everything.
Yeah.
And he was at every ball game, every school event.
Great.
He was everything he could possibly be a part of. He was a part of. My father, on the other hand, he was in and out. So I think there was probably
From like young.
I mean, I didn't realize I really had a father. I didn't know like what that. I remember the day my mom told me that I had to go see my father.
How old were you when that happened?
I was like, dude, my memory. I was a little guy. I don't remember the year.
4, 5, 6.
Some
7,
yeah.
something like that, yeah.
My mom took my brother and I in her Pontiac Grand Am, drove us over to Mattydale, where we used to play baseball, and parked the car in the parking lot.
And said, go see your dad.
And said, hey,
fuck.
Starting next month, or I think it was something like that, you've got to go every other weekend to be with Gordon.
Damn.
It was my father.
That's tough.
I just didn't understand it.
Sure. And then he would kind of come in and go out, come in and go out.
Well,
Like,
he'd say he was going to show up, and then, there were seasons where he was present.
Yeah.
And then there were seasons where he just wasn't.
That's interesting. Now, do you have any half brothers or sisters?
I do. I've got an older brother, Shane, who I'm really close with.
This is a half?
He's a full blood. He's my only
so that's your brother
full-blooded.
with Gordon and your mom.
Yeah. Then I have a half sister with Gordon and my stepmom Lynn.
Yeah.
And I have a half brother, Taylor, who's younger than me, 7 years younger. And he's with my dad and my mom.
Nice.
And then I've got 3 stepsisters as well.
That were your dads.
They were actually Lynn and then their dad. So they were like stepsister, not half. So it's a weird family, man.
Okay, yeah. So Lynn, your mom.
Yeah.
No, your stepmom's
Stepmom.
kids. All right. So Gordon and Lynn. So
Yep.
yeah. So all right, gotcha.
And
Yeah.
then my mom, Jacqueline, she had another son, Taylor, who's my half brother.
Yeah. Nice.
But with a family like that, you just call people brother or sister,
brother and sister.
because
Absolutely.
it's just too confusing.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that thing, and then I think my mom was also pretty rebellious.
As a child.
Yeah.
Like a lot of fire under her ass.
Oh
like,
yeah,
fuck the
I mean, I
world,
think she
yeah.
got kicked out of St. Matthew's.
Yeah, makes sense.
For being a girl that had too many opinions and talked too much.
Yep. Yeah. Isn't that funny? The genetic. I think about that a lot. Like how our body's genetic doesn't only pass.
Right.
But our actual personality.
Yep.
Right. That's in our genetic makeup. Like when I see, so I would say like, it's funny. Me and my son looks like me. My oldest looks a lot like me, but our mentalities are extremely different. He's very analytical. He thinks before he acts.
You're not analytical?
No.
Really?
Not really. I don't really think about. Well, when I say analytical in a way, not really. No, I wouldn't consider myself analytical. I don't think so.
Define that. Define what
guess-
you think that means.
So when I think of analytical, I think of someone that takes their time to make decisions because they're analyzing ends and beginnings and what might happen and what might
Outcomes.
come, right? Well, I think of being analytical in that way.
Yeah.
Like I like to be informational.
Yeah.
I like to know a lot about a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But it's if I want to start a podcast,
Right.
it's like, well, what could happen? And then this happens, and then what if no? I just want to start a podcast,
Right. Like let's
just go.
Let's fucking
right?
go.
Where I feel like he's very he's a critical thinker. You're just like a detective almost.
Yeah.
Like the way that his brain works. It's just
That's cool.
It is. It's super cool. The complete opposite of me.
Yeah.
Like we're just like almost opposites. We look like we could be brothers.
Right.
But we're just very opposite. Where my daughter and I are absolutely identical
Right.
in every way.
That's wild.
How she thinks,
That's wild.
what motivates her, her everything about her. Like she acts in certain ways. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's me, but in female form,
Right.
though, right? So
Oh God.
yeah,
Oh God.
and like 14-year-old
Oh, my
female
God.
form. So it's like, whew,
That's
my
rough.
goodness. So it's just like full throttle.
Yeah.
Right. Boys can the things in our road. We can pull the throttle back a
Yeah.
little bit easier at 14.
Yep.
Where a girl going through, like, it's just I don't even begin to try to understand. Like, you think you don't understand the female mind and body, and then you raise a teenage daughter,
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
like, oh my
I can only
gosh.
imagine.
So it's just like, just patient, be patient, be patient, be patient. But I'm never am. We always just scream at
Right.
each other. We were just
Yeah.
yelling at each other today. But
I love that. Love
yeah,
it.
it's crazy. But it's just, no, so back to that. It's like amazing how, like, the genetic tree,
Yeah.
right? Where it's not only, wow, she looks like me, but she, like, that's what I would do. I would say that. That's
Yeah.
how I would react to that. Like, you can see yourself in your children, and it's like, that is nutty.
And does that like bother you more than like does that annoy the crap out of you, or is that like exciting?
No, I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I love like something about, like, a lot of parents will, like, they want like certain stages of their parenting back. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I miss when they were babies, or I miss when
Absolutely.
they were in their 2s, or I miss when
Yeah.
they're 4s, which I totally, like, I would never mock that. Like, that's cool.
Right.
But I love, like, every stage.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I love the evolution of a
Love that.
child.
Love
and
that.
you're just
Yep.
watching them
Grow
just
and
transform and
change.
grow. And like right now, like with my 17-year-old boy, like we just talk like he's my peer.
Yeah.
Almost, just
Yeah.
like a younger peer.
Right.
I still try to give him advice and hang out, but he was just busting my balls today, like in front of a bunch of people. It's like, listen, you fuck.
I love that. I love
and it's
that.
like, but it's like,
So
it's
sick.
cool. It's great.
So
it's awesome.
sick. I love it.
Right. And then same with my daughter. I definitely feel that girls, they definitely mature, in my opinion, faster than boys.
Oh, absolutely.
Like mentally,
Absolutely.
emotionally, like everything. They, like, she's like 14, like going on like 21 a lot of times.
Okay, I got a question for you. So I want you to go back into your mind if you can. Is it practice, exercise?
Yeah.
What was your most dominant thought when you were 17?
Oh my gosh. When I was 17. So, well, I would say, if I'm being honest, like real, like if I'm being real, no, it's not anything good, but if I'm, well, I would say that it would have been,
There was nothing good
I just
going
want
on.
to fuck. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it would have been. But
Yeah.
because I was very religious,
Right.
because I was a born again Christian,
Yeah.
like fully
Absolutely.
devoted in every aspect. At 17, I remember a buddy of mine had just been born again. We just got saved.
Yeah.
Right. According to Christianity.
Yep.
And we were, he was leading a Bible study at our school. And like him and I were like, we were fuck ups before
Yeah.
we became Christians. He was like this dreadlock wearing,
Yeah.
like, just hippie. And I was just this fucking dropout, fucking druggie. We were just we were just bad. Like, we weren't.
Sounds like a perfect Christian, though.
Yeah. Right.
It's like what it's supposed to be all about, right?
We were not doing it. And then he ended up going to church, and then I kind of followed behind him. I really looked up to him when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I kind of followed him there, and I was like really into it too. But then it like clicked for me, and then I was full throttle.
Yeah.
And so, but I even took Christianity teaches you, die to yourself,
Yeah.
abandon yourself.
Yep.
Like, it's all about Jesus. It's all about people. Love others, love others. But I remember my biggest struggle, and I know now why it was my biggest struggle, because it's still is all I wanted was people to like me.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, definitely something that even as a man, I feel I still, it's definitely not as strong as 17, 16, 20, 22, but just this fucking ache and need, and all my worth and value all came, especially female.
Yeah.
I would say female attention.
Yeah.
Like I wanted attractive females to like me, to want me, you know,
Yep.
like that was like the driving force of my life.
Yeah.
Even with the Bible fucking kicking me in the ass nonstop. I used to just like lay on my face and pray and fast and all this shit.
Yep.
Like to just rid me of this selfish envy. I think I forget just whatever the fucking terminology is. This self thought. All I care about is myself. That's all I count. That's all I want. Everything I'm doing is to look like a good Christian, even as a Christian. And it's like, yeah, dude. So I would say at 17, the most dominant desire and trait was just wanting to be liked.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I'd say that was definitely what was. What about you?
I think my most dominant thought was not wanting the bell to ring and have to stand up out of class just from the mist. Yeah.
Oh, because you were so horned up? Yeah.
Listen,
funny.
Being real. That was like,
you know, I never really struggled with hard-ons in school.
Dog.
I heard people talk about that, like, oh, I couldn't. Maybe I did. I just didn't give a fuck. I just stood. If I had a hard dick, I had a hard dick. I didn't really care.
Well,
because I don't ever really remember that, like, that. But I've heard so many guys be like, oh fuck, I can't stand up because my dick's hard. Yeah,
I mean, that was a thing, dude. That's that's like
seems it. I
guess
I just didn't really care. Or maybe my dick was just too small. It didn't fucking matter. I don't know.
No, I think, like, dude, like, to be honest with you, I think this is the nerdiest thing you're going to hear today. I think when I was 17, I was busy writing political hardcore songs and reading Howard Zinn and
with Black Flag and stuff like that.
Like I was.
Who's that dude? Harry.
You're talking about the singer of Henry Rollins.
Yeah, Henry Rollins. Yeah. So into like that kind of shit.
I was. Yeah, I mean, I was in the local hardcore scene from like 2003 all the way up.
Yeah.
And I was the opposite of you. I mean, I was profoundly atheist. I was outspokenly anti-organized religion. And
which is the same thing but different.
It's the opposite end of the spectrum. And remember, the first thing I was taught from a young age was question everything.
Question everything, sure.
Right? That was one of the, and I'm so grateful that was instilled in me.
For sure.
And so I was an atheist. I was pissed. I was angry at the world. I didn't understand why I had a broken vessel that I had to live in.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I never really felt sorry. I just kind of thought, why not me? But at the same time was still pissed that I was in pain all the time and bloated and no one wanted to look at me. And I wasn't the popular kid.
But then you were also like a rising star in the drama community.
Yeah.
Do you feel that this could be just a total stereotype? I don't really give a fuck. But I'm just saying how they're perceived. It seems like in the drama community, in the art community, there is a affinity for more broken people.
Absolutely.
Right? Like people that are kind of like on the outs. They don't really fit into the
absolutely
the jock,
absolutely the creative in general is aching to be able to communicate the human condition. And more than anything, I desired to be able to embody a different person and become that person and to be as honest and authentic as I possibly could. And because I wanted to be anyone but who I was.
Me too. I believe that. I get that. Do you remember a time do you remember if it has happened yet or when it happened, if it was a time, if it was a process when you liked yourself?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
where you were like, I'm okay. Like I actually am okay. Like I like myself.
Well, I think that the like myself stage didn't really start to come into fruition until maybe like 2020.
Oh,
like years later.
5 years.
Yeah. And it was an intentional choice.
Was that when you started to like get into Christianity?
No.
Before that?
No, I still hated myself as a Christian. No doubt. No doubt. If anything, I probably had more shame and self-hatred.
Now all of a sudden you're ashamed of the hard dick, not just embarrassed.
No, yeah. I think but I still had that fuck it attitude. You know, just
yeah, you're still
like I got what I got, and if you don't like me,
keep going. I just want to
then
make sure that
I will. If you don't like me, too bad.
Yeah.
You're stuck with me.
That's cool though.
And that's all. I just said I don't care. Like, you're not gonna like me. Cool, dope.
Yeah.
Now on the inside, I think it wasn't that. On the outside, that was my defense mechanism.
Sure. Yeah.
On the inside, I hated that. I hated.
Isn't that funny that we do that?
Yeah, we hide the weakness, the insecurity. We stuff it down in hopes that no one figures out the weak spot exists.
Dude, like that is one thing that I'm sure we all have it. Remember, it's just I'm like jogging in my brain because what I'm getting at is that is one thing that I try so hard to push, like with my kids, is for them to just be fully them at all times, right? Like annoying, obnoxious, horny, fucked up, mean, you know, whatever it is, like be fully them, like just encapsulate all that you fucking are. And then, right, first be that.
Yeah.
No matter what that is.
Yeah.
Fucking as evil as that is.
Yeah.
Right? Just be you.
Just
at all fucking times. All right, now while you're being you, this is how you treat people.
Yeah.
Like this is how you respect people, you love people, you treat people with kindness, and the difference is, I think what happens and what we do is we get it twisted, where we know how we're supposed to act, we know what we're supposed to do, we know how we're supposed to interact, we're supposed to love, we're supposed to be kind, we're supposed to be gracious, we're supposed to be confident, we're supposed to be all these things, and we're doing all these things we're supposed to be, but the be us is not even part of the equation,
right?
Where finally you're fucking 35 years old, 30 years old, and you're like, well, you're a great person and you're fucking super confident and you're like you're killing it, you know, but you don't even know who the fuck you are. Yeah. Because all you've been doing this entire time is just doing everything you're supposed to be doing. Filling these roles that you think you're supposed to be filling.
Right. And like I always tell people, you know, most people will go to the grave not knowing who they are.
Yes. 100%.
And realizing on their deathbed that they have been living other people's shoulds.
Yes. Their whole fucking life.
And my good friend always tells me, don't should all over yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because
I hate that word.
If you're like, I should have.
Fuck that word.
I should own a house by now. I should be married by now. I should have kids by now.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. It is. I think. There was like a book on this actually that like the people. There's a hospice nurse that wrote a book. I forget the author's name.
Damn.
And she just wrote down
watching
people's
die all fucking day.
Last regrets.
Yep.
And the whole premise of her book basically was that, like, more than anything, people's biggest regrets were regrets of omission.
Sure.
Not commission.
What they didn't do.
What they didn't do.
Absolutely.
Not, you know, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
And I think that it is better to fall on your face living out loud and to know that you gave it a shot than it is to try to be something that you're not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was just talking. So because my oldest son is because of the analytical mind and because of the critical thinking and because he thinks before he acts. Yeah. Like our best attributes are our absolute worst attributes. Yeah. Right. Like confident, outgoing. Yes. People are very self-conscious and insecure. Yeah. Right. Like we're like that because we're so fucking insecure. Yep. We want people to like us. We want people's attention. We gotta be the center of attention. But we're a lot of fun. Right. We take a lot of chances. We fucking go for it. But on the same note, we can't be alone. We hate fucking being alone. That's right. Like we hate when people don't like us. Like we're just fucking like. So it's like our best attributes, our worst attributes, and the same with. I wouldn't even know if I'd call them introverted. Maybe not. I get the introverted, extroverted, all that stuff, it's just who knows what the fuck you are. Sometimes you like to be alone, sometimes you like to not be alone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like whatever. But
I think that's like an ambivert.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So what we were just talking about is when he was really little, he was just afraid. Like he wouldn't go on roller coasters, he wouldn't go on stuff, and because of that analytical mind, right? Like this could happen, that could happen, this could happen.
Interesting.
And so I heard anxiety is being afraid of the things that haven't happened yet.
That's right.
Right.
Realities that have not. Right.
Have never happened.
Yeah.
Like, that's what anxiety is.
That's right.
And I don't want to. I'm not describing it. I've heard that that's like a description of anxiety.
Absolutely.
And so we were just on the way home, or it might have been on the way to work, and he was just talking about how like now he doesn't want to miss out.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to miss out on things. Like he missed out on so much because he was afraid. He was afraid of things. And I was like, hell yeah, bro. Like I remember when I was single and there was a girl that I thought was attractive.
Right.
And all the guys were like just nervous.
Right.
And so I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Dude.
Like I'm gonna go look like a goofball. At least I know.
Think about like what you have to lose.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about what you're missing out on.
That's right.
By allowing fear to stop you from
Yeah.
doing fucking anything.
Right.
And for me, it was always I was terrified of missing out.
Yeah.
What's that, FOMO or whatever?
Yeah. FOMO.
Right?
Yep.
That was always such a fear of mine, still is.
Right.
Like, well, what could I be missing?
Yeah.
Like,
What if?
yeah. And it's like, that's terrifying. Not like fucking up.
Right.
So what? She says, no, I don't like you. She rejects me. She says, you're ugly. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm
Right.
never going to see this person again in my entire life.
Right.
Right. Or whatever the case is. Right. When I started my own business, it's like, well,
Yeah.
if it doesn't work, I go fucking get a job.
Yeah.
It's like, we're in America. Like, we
Right.
can get a job someplace
The
else.
beauty of capitalism.
Figure something else
Right.
out.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And so it's like just living in this state of fear that what could happen. And it's like, no way, man. No way. That's a, and it's not, thankfully, goes back to genetic.
Yeah.
Right. That's not a struggle of mine.
Yeah.
I was never afraid to just try things.
Yeah.
And like my daughter, she tries fucking a different thing every other day.
Yeah.
Like who knows what she's going to be into tomorrow. And I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's like, hell yeah. Try a billion things.
Yeah.
You know, and keep quitting.
Yeah.
Keep quitting it. You don't like that? Stop it.
Yeah.
Try something else. Go do something else. You don't like that? Stop it.
Yeah.
Go do something else.
Absolutely.
Like you're 14 years old.
Yeah.
Quit shit until you're 30.
You should be. This is when you should be.
Quit
figuring
everything.
out.
Quit
Right.
because you're not a fucking quitter.
Right.
You just didn't like it. It
Just
wasn't
didn't
for
like it.
you.
Not
All
for
right,
you.
move on.
Right.
And I'm all about that. Just trying as many things as you
That's
possibly
right.
can.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you don't, well, then what?
Yeah.
You're on your deathbed.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like my one caveat to that potentially is the world is full of opportunity. And so if you're trying to do it on your own, outside of loving, caring relationships or people that are wise, you could go your whole lifetime trying to figure out what your thing is.
Sure.
And so when you have people that actually care about you, people that you are actually trustworthy, not the people that tell you they're your friends. I'm talking the real
people that are going to tell you hard shit.
Yeah, the stuff you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And those people that know you better, they know what is for you. And if you have the right ears and you can listen and you can ask the right questions, you can hit a lot of shortcuts.
Hell yeah.
But if you just go out your front door swinging at everything that comes at you, you might die before you ever find what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that is true, man. I think we can take for granted those people in our lives.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough because you can go years and years and years and years and years and years and be surrounded by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of friends.
Right.
And then you're in your 30s and you have one.
That's right.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe two.
That's right.
I mean, excluding your parents, and your partner, right? Like you may have two people in your life.
That's right.
That will just be fucking real.
Like real deal.
Yeah. You're lucky if you have two.
That's right. And it's because when you're a kid, you're forced into friendship, but they don't teach you how to make friends.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you get a little bit older, your parents force you to hang out with their friends' kids.
Yeah.
So you hang out with the ones that are assigned to you.
Yeah.
Then you go to college and you hang out with the kids that go to your college.
Proximity.
Right.
Right?
Proximity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends by proxy.
And that's right.
Yeah.
Friends by proxy.
Yeah.
And they don't teach you how to build strong relationships. If I had $1 for I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah, me too.
I just love, I'm
Met a lot of
fascinated by people. I'm
Yeah.
fascinated by people and their stories.
Yeah.
I love, like, more than anything else.
Yeah, me too.
I make sure that I try to create space to drink coffee and talk and with friends.
Yeah.
And time and time again, if I had $1 for every single person that told me they were lonely and felt alone and don't have friends, I just had one of those conversations today. I got approached by a new friend at the cafe I go to, and he just a grown man.
Yeah.
And he was crying in the middle of the cafe.
Damn.
Because he was
lonely?
he was just lonely. And he just said, like, I realized that I don't have friends.
Damn.
And that's not just a him thing. That is, I hear that all the time. They don't teach you how to make friends. So then you get into your adult years, and then you're trying to figure it out and wing it. And then you're just hoping you land on a couple good ones if you don't know how to do it.
That wild.
Right.
Yeah. To be like, yeah, another thing that you just take for granted, man. Just not being lonely.
Yeah.
Like, just that feel. I personally don't remember the last time that I felt lonely. You know, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that whether it's through proxy or just being someone that is willing to just fucking talk and be open.
Right.
That really, really, really amazing people have come into my life.
Yeah.
Whether I brought them in or they ended up in or I approached them or
right.
whatever happened. Like I've had like for a good, probably, I mean, for a good long time, I think. And even what's weird though is like even ones that were like really great and really solid and were really helpful, they're not even there anymore.
Right.
And so it's like, it's just amazing that they can be so important and so valuable and create such a groove in your life cycle.
Right.
Right.
Like a record.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like they created that groove and they were that important.
Yeah.
Like they're that memorable. Right. Mm-hmm. And then they're not even around anymore. And it's like, I'm not pissed about it. Like it's just the chapter, right?
Yeah.
Like that was that chapter or whatever you want to call it. It was that phase of life that brought me to the next phase of life. It wasn't like now they're assholes and they're dicks. I don't want to see them anymore. Mm-hmm. But it's just interesting how someone that's that important and that valuable and that crucial to your growth as a human. And then now they're gone.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, used to talk about that a lot.
Really, about friends and shit.
Yeah, he used to talk about neighbors, right? Like, right, and he would say, he basically said, he would ask people to stop and think about everyone that loved them into becoming the person that they are today.
Ooh, I'd be here for a while. I've gotten a lot of love. Like, I'm very fortunate. Like, I am very, very, very fortunate. I think a lot more than most. Yeah. I would say. Been very, very blessed to have people, like, actually, like, take time to love me. Right. And, like, that does something to your soul. Mm-hmm. It really does. Yeah. I think. And then it I think it can do probably two different things. Well, I don't know. I don't know if too much love can ever be bad. But, like, like those people that have never been through anything. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's just, they're like as deep as a puddle. Yeah. Right. And they're kind of like just, ugh. And like, it's tough to conversate with them. It's tough to like, they're just negative and just, right. They really haven't been through bitter, jaded, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And they just haven't really been through it. But then you talk with somebody that's been through some fucking hard shit. And it's like, they're like salve. Right? Like they just like there's something about what they've been through that like it's like they were like dipped into whatever they were dipped in, and when they were pulled out, it was like this aroma just comes from them that just satiates and fucking dissipates into everything, and you're just like, damn. Yeah. Right? You can feel it. Like
Yeah.
when someone has just been through shit
Yeah.
and they have depth and they have heart and they have
Yeah.
soul, and you're just like, you're just hanging and talking and listening, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, I think, well, a couple things. First of all, like I think of the Beatitudes, right? Mm-hmm. It says like, blessed are the weak and the poor, right?
Yep.
I thank God every day that I have Crohn's disease.
Yeah, been through it.
And like, there are so many people that have it worse than me.
Sure.
I still have a roof over my head, got clothes on my back. I'm healthy enough now to sit on a couch and talk about silly stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I'm so fortunate to have lived with a chronic illness.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. In fact, if someone were to come up to me today, a magical magician, God, I don't know who, were to come up to me and say, I can take it away. You'll be cured. And all you have to do is turn in all the character that you've gained.
Yeah.
From my pain, I have deeper love.
Yeah.
And I have deeper joy. I have more gratitude. I have more strength.
Sure.
When I look in the mirror, I know that there are amazing people all around me in the world that are maybe better at a ton of things. But one thing is for sure, when I look in the mirror, I know what I've been through.
Yeah.
And no one can take it from me.
Yeah.
No one can take that from me. No one gets to take that from me.
Yeah, it's like it is you, right?
That's right.
Like it's not what happened to you. Like it is you, and like that pain and that suffering and all of that. Like it's not like a time frame as much as it is a time frame. It's actually a substance. Right?
Yeah.
It's like you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you are from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's wild.
Well, and
wild.
like the wild thing for me is like, I from the time I was young was sick, right?
Sure.
In hospitals,
Yeah.
in infusion chairs for hours and hours at a time. And there were no cell phones at that point. I'm that old, right?
Yeah.
No cell phones, dude. Staring at ugly
watching Jeopardy.
doctor office paintings on the wall.
Yeah, Wheel of Fortune on the TV.
Just miserable.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was pretty sick and I was in a lot of pain,
Yeah.
but I didn't get as sick as I've been in the past couple of years until like 2016, 2017.
Do you feel that you were more sick as a child or more sick as a young adult?
I thought I had reached the depths of the greatest sickness I was going to reach. And I was wrong.
Jesus.
I'm telling you right now, I was wrong.
That's when they had surgery.
So by the time I had moved out to be an actor, tried to be an actor.
That was at 19. So 19, you go to Cali.
I had already had 2 small bowel resections at that point in time. Parts of my intestine removed.
Yeah.
Dozens of hospital visits.
Yeah.
I thought that was the worst of it.
Yeah.
But then like 2014, 15, I started taking this new medicine that was like a trial medicine, and everything seemed like nothing seemed wrong.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was working, but not well enough. So they started switching me to this other trial medicine. And that one just wasn't working altogether. And then they immediately switched me to a third one called Entyvio.
Entyvio.
Right?
Okay. The name sounds familiar, but
It's very popular. And I started taking this medicine and I kind of realized something was wrong or different. I didn't know how wrong, but I knew something was different because like my legs would swell and, I had some weird issues, but they kept me on it because it seemed like the Crohn's was quieting down. And then I moved out to, this was like, I had moved back from California, 2014, 2015. I'm still on this drug.
Yeah.
I move out to California, working a normal job, seemingly healthy. And I go to bed one night, normal. And in the middle of the night, I wake up to go to the restroom and I roll out of bed. When I roll out of bed, my legs don't work. And I fall off my bed and smack face first on the floor.
Jeez.
And I just lay there in shock. Like I didn't know why. Just knew that my legs didn't work. So eventually I pull myself back up on the bed. My legs, I can't really feel my feet that well, but I'm able to get back up,
Yeah.
I go about my day thinking just a weird fluke. That day I was I was going to school at the time, UAlbany, and working the job and traveling around the country, doing all tons of things, thinking I'm healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm on the campus and I'm walking across the campus and I'm like trying to walk like normal and I just collapse. Like my legs just stop working again. So I'm like, something is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. So long story short, I go to the doctor. I tell them, hey, something's wrong. And they tell me, no, you're fine. It's just a fluke. Your legs were just asleep, whatever, you know. And my legs were swollen at the time. So I'm like, dude.
I've been walking all day.
You know, I tell them, hey, you know, look, I got an issue. I don't know what it is.
So you're walking through campus, you fall down again.
I like crack a rib, like all this stuff. And so finally, I keep telling them something's wrong.
Yeah.
And they keep saying no. So like a couple weeks pass, and it's getting progressively worse. And I keep telling them, like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And they keep telling me, no, there's not. You're fine. And then I have an appointment this one day. And same thing, I'm on campus. I'm walking to my car to make it to the appointment, and I fall again. My legs stop working. And this time I get all bloodied up. Like my arms get cut up, my face hits the ground, like scrapes, everything. So I immediately go to the doctor for my appointment. I'm all bloody and dirty. And I say, something is wrong. I'm telling you, I'm not taking another infusion until we figure out what's going on. So the doctor's staff finally gets the doctor on the line and says, hey, this is what's going on. And he flips out on the line. He's like yelling. And he's like, why has no one made me aware that he's been stating, you know, the whole thing? And so they immediately assigned me to go get an MRI. Like they put in an order for an MRI. And we get that scheduled and we do an MRI. And when they take the photo in the MRI, the whole outer layer of my brain is dead brain tissue.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So it was a neurological thing?
Neurological. So then they did nerve testing like that same week.
Damn.
And we find out like I can't feel stuff. Like they're zapping me.
And this is all from the medicine?
All from the medicine, and we didn't know it. So it turns out, you know, on the commercial, we're at the end of the commercial, they go on and on about.
So one of those was
one
yours.
One of the very rare cases, you know, I was rare case, and it turned out my brain was basically devouring itself from the outside in. It was a brain infection.
Oh my God.
Beginning stages of PML.
Oh
right?
my God.
And the medicine.
Like a fucking boxer.
Right.
Right? Isn't that what they get? Like
boxers? I don't know. But yes, it was really intense. And so we stopped taking the medicine.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously.
Yeah.
And they called my parents came out to Albany and we had a doctor's appointment. They sat us down. They just kind of said like, hey, like, we don't know what this is going to look like, you know, but just be aware that if this progresses, this is going to be very serious.
Yeah, you're going to be a vegetable.
And this could be like a 6-month thing potentially. And we just don't know. And we don't know if the nerves are going to grow back. We don't know if this is going to progress. And so then they said, obviously we can't do any medicine. The infection's very bad. There's no other medicine available because I'd done every medicine on the book at this point in time.
So now you got to live with the Crohn disease while your freaking brain heals.
So they tell me no medicine for further notice. We've got to let hopefully things work out and we're okay and it doesn't progress.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, hopefully we will be able to revisit treatment options.
Yeah.
Now, the very long story short, obviously I flung myself into a deeper depression than I had ever experienced.
Jeez.
And I started making some silly choices out of coping and I got into a relationship that I thought was going to be the right one. And I made a move. Like I literally just thought I wasn't going to be here.
Yeah. So you're just, fuck it.
Like, I just fuck it, dude. Like I'm not going to be alive.
Yeah. Who cares?
So who cares? and I can't take medicine at that point, and I started just doing dumb stuff. And then even when like I wasn't the option wasn't there to take medicine at that point,
Yeah.
but like I was still doing some dumb stuff to try to, I don't know who I was thinking I was proving a point to, but I just at that point I was just depressed. I was
Yeah.
so I got real bad.
Yeah.
And at that point, my insurance lapsed. I didn't even have the job, so I didn't have insurance. That put me behind the 8 ball. And so the Crohn's got really bad. And then I think it was 2019. I was getting skinnier and skinnier.
Yeah, because you couldn't eat.
I couldn't eat. And this wasn't even to the point where they were saying like don't eat. This was to the point where we couldn't figure out like what exactly was going on. And we knew there was like internal bleeding going on. We knew there was a lot of bad stuff happening with the Crohn's, but there was nothing they could do about it at that point. So I just kept dwindling, and I think I got down to about 105 pounds.
Damn.
And I'm 5'11".
Yeah.
So I was skinny.
Yeah.
And to the point where I think I was a groomsman for one of my friends, and I went to his wedding. I was so weak I could barely stand or walk. I did his wedding with him and was at the event and just looked pale as a ghost.
Yeah.
And I did not know it, but I was literally bleeding to death.
Jesus.
And literally like a week later, I literally was at home alone, and in the middle of the night I tried to get up out of bed and I couldn't. And I like fumbled down the stairs at my house, and I had to call 911 to come get me off the couch.
Jesus.
So I go to the hospital, rushed in an ambulance, and they take me up there, and it is so bad. Like I literally can't move out of the bed, and they say, "Well, we know you're gonna need surgery, and we know that you're jacked up in there. It's all clogged. So you cannot eat food for further notice."
Jesus.
So they put me on complete bowel rest. They put in a PICC line in my arm that went into my heart. Mm-hmm. And I had to hook myself up to a machine for like 14 hours a day, every day at home. I couldn't leave home because my immune system was so low. And I did not eat food for a year. And there was no end, like, goal line in sight. There was no like, hey, we'll not eat food for this long. It was, you cannot eat food.
So how were you, what sustenance did you have? How did you?
No sustenance other than the PICC line. The PICC line in my arm was the only thing.
And that was just feeding.
Just feeding nutrients, like this gross milk product into my arm. And I had at-home nurses. I couldn't leave the house. At that point, the brain injury stopped progressing, but I was so weak I had to use a walker just to get around and walk. I lived with housemates, and the housemates had to carry my like, if I had water, they'd have to carry the cup to the living room because I couldn't leave the house, and I couldn't carry it myself because I had to use like the walker.
Damn.
So they would carry the stuff to the living room for me. It was pathetic, man. It was about as low as it gets, to the point where it was like a non-human level.
Yeah, were you suicidal?
As low as you get. And
did you reach like suicidal thoughts?
I mean, I was at suicidal thoughts prior to this, but at that point, I was like, "Well, I'm still here. Like, what the heck, man?"
So it kind of did the opposite. Like, wow, I'm still.
I just
alive.
kind of was like, "Well, I didn't die."
Yeah. Like
Yet.
I'm beating it.
I guess I'm beating it. Well, I'll just wait it out and see what I can do. And I remember thinking, like, if I get a shot at health again, I'm going to squeeze that orange for everything it has.
Fucking go for it.
I'm going to turn that into, I'm going to take that thing and make it mine.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
And so I didn't eat food for a year. 2021, we do major 6.5 hour surgery, and I'm so weak at that point
this
that
is midst of COVID.
And the doctor said, "Hey, listen, you're so weak, we don't know how the surgery is going to go."
Sure. Yeah,
That's
no guarantee. Like you could be
like-
dead on the table.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's what the conversation was with
Yeah.
me and
Just-
my
just
parents.
warn- at least they were
And
always
that's-
real with you.
That they were.
They were always real with you.
That's why I had to wait so long. Was I was so weak
Yeah.
that they were like, you could die if we have surgery today. So
Damn.
so I go in for surgery, 6.5 hours. They pull all of my intestine out, put it on the plate, like on the table, and go inch by inch by inch. They remove a certain amount of it. They reconstruct 3 different, they call them like stricturoplasties, twist everything up, and they give me, they push everything back in there. And they staple me up like 30 staples from my chest to my groin. And they said, well, this is what you got. We're going to see how it turns out.
Fucking Frankenstein.
Like, good luck. Good luck. And I think I was in the hospital for 6 days. I started walking on day 2.
Holy shit. So this is 2021. This is 3 years ago.
2021. Now I leave the hospital 6 days later. And I asked the doctors, now that I lived, I said, well, I'm excited and I'm still using a walker at this point, right?
Yeah, but
I'm like,
you feel like
I'm still alive.
Like life is like
I'm still alive.
breathed, like-
Now I have something to prove to myself.
Yeah.
I've got some I got to prove other people wrong.
Yeah.
I've got to prove to myself that I can do it.
Yeah.
And so they send me home, and the last thing I ask before I leave the hospital is, when can I begin working out or exercising? Which is nothing I had really done before.
Yeah,
I just
but now you know.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna
they said,
fucking
well,
kick ass.
once you give it a week. After a week, you can start doing like leg lifts. We'll have a physical therapist come out to you.
Nice.
And then they said you can do like basic safe exercises. So for me at that point, I couldn't leave home, right? It was
Yeah, it was 2021, so no one could leave home, right? Like
Dude.
that was right in the beginning of COVID.
it's like the year after COVID, because that was 2020.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
2021, the world was still closed,
Yeah,
on, off,
everything's
on,
closed,
off,
on, off, yeah.
And so I start in my room. I get a couple of 5-pound weights.
Start getting after it.
I start doing planks, which is you just hold a position. My thought was this: I've got balance issues. If I fall, I'm only going to be a couple inches off the ground. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. So I started doing these planks all by myself with no one there to watch me, and I started doing sets of 5, and I started at 1 minute planks with 1 minute break, and I would do 5. And then every single week, I started adding 15 seconds. And it got to the point where I was doing 20-minute planks.
Damn.
With 1 minute and sets of 5.
Fuck, I can't even do a 20-minute plank.
And that's all I could do.
Yeah.
And I had like 8-pound weights. And I eventually was able to buy a bigger weight and able to start doing a little. But I was in my room and no one was there to tell me to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one was there.
self-motivation.
No one was there. No one knocked on my door, said, wake up, work out.
What year did you start going to Planet? Is that like
Beginning
22,
of
23?
22. February
That makes sense.
22.
A couple years ago.
Yeah. 22 February. And I kind of told at that time my housemates, I said, I joked to them, like, I kind of want to go see what a gym's like again. I don't even know. I've never really, I used to go way back, but I was like, well, I want to start going.
Yeah.
And so I told them I'm going to start going to the gym.
Yeah.
And I was using a cane at that time. I don't know if you remember that, seeing me in the, and I was embarrassed to go because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be with a cane walking around the gym.
I remember.
I can't even barely lift a weight without falling over.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember when you first came, I thought you were old. Like, I thought you were like an older guy. And I think it shows like how, I guess I am just in the zone.
Yeah.
I just thought you were some old guy.
yeah.
I didn't really look. I saw you had some like tats and shit, and like, oh, you're kind of a cooler older guy, you know? Because you always wore a hat, right? And your
Sure
hat was
do.
always forward.
Yep.
Right? So and you had glasses on.
Yeah.
Right? And you had a walker.
Yeah.
And you kind of were
Yeah.
you know,
Just
feebly walking around.
feebly,
So I was
awkwardly.
like, oh, he's just some older guy.
yeah.
And yeah. So that would make sense. 2 years, dude. How much you've come in fucking 2 years from that?
Oh, it's wild.
I forgot that you had a cane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I know I don't use a cane at all anymore.
That's
And
crazy.
not only that, but like when I started going to the gym, I knew nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not like that. That's the other thing too to think about is it wasn't like sometimes you'll have athletes that get
Right.
hurt and they get fucked up. They get in a bad car
Yeah.
accident. Something happens, right?
Yeah.
And not only does memory have muscle, the brain,
You're right.
right?
That's
muscle
right.
has memory. Your brain has the memory. So it's like they get back into the swing of things. It was like you never even were in the swing of things.
Never had a swing.
Right? So it wasn't
Yeah.
even like, oh, let me pick up where I left off kind of thing, you know?
Right.
So it's like that's freaking to see the progression is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just one thing that I've noticed like what I've noticed the most is your shoulders and chest and like
Yeah.
your legs and your muscle growth.
Yeah.
That's the most noticeable thing is how much muscle growth you have.
Yeah.
But one thing is your balance.
Oh, my balance is
Like how
oh my gosh.
like sometimes like there's some times where I can
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
see
yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I'll have like a day
usually like you're just walking.
just walking.
And like I won't really notice like how well you're walking until till like maybe like you kind of are going to pick something up.
Yeah.
And then I remember.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago he had a fucking
cane.
Yeah, you couldn't even walk almost.
Right.
And it's like, and I'm like, fuck, man, is he like so everything's progressing.
Everything.
Like every aspect.
Every
of it. So that's
aspect.
neurological,
Yeah.
muscular,
Yep.
balance, fucking the water between your ears, whatever the
Dude.
fuck causes balance.
Dude,
You know,
yeah.
all that shit. Like it's amazing how much physically you've
And
progressed.
and
in
well,
2
and also
years.
like the non-tangibles,
Yeah.
right? Like if I had a list of how many things I was afraid to do
Sure.
when I started going to the gym,
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
dude, like I remember, I think it was, I started like you're always picking on me because I do so many leg days, and it's like your least favorite.
Yeah, as you can see, these freaking chicken legs.
You're like a Greek statue, dude. But you know, at the beginning of this year, actually, I wasn't working out my legs per se. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do squats. I was afraid.
Well, that's scary.
I didn't want to do leg press.
Yeah.
I was afraid.
Yeah, it's scary.
And
What if your
I
legs
started
give out?
going with buddies. I don't know if you
remember.
remember that.
Yep, yep.
Some buddies started going, and going with these buddies, they would start to challenge me to do some stuff that scared me.
Sure.
And so like we started doing squats one day, and I was like, I can't do anything. And so we put like no weight on the bar, like the first day, and I like barely could get low.
Yeah.
Right. I was like barely going on. I was like deathly afraid that my legs were just going to give out. Remember,
Yeah.
I've got the trauma
Yeah.
of my legs just not
Yes,
working.
Yes.
And so I start doing squats with like no weight on the bar. I start doing the leg press.
Yeah.
Same thing. Deathly afraid that the plate
gonna fucking fall
is just
on
going to
you.
crush me.
Yeah.
And I mean, you saw the other day, like I leg pressed like 838
Yeah,
pounds,
yeah.
8 plates on both sides, and
Yeah,
the platform's
that's fucking
118.
Crazy. That's crazy.
And like I'm like
In 2 years.
and not even because like legs. I didn't start working out my legs
Oh, yeah,
until the
so-
beginning of this
so
year.
a year. That's
Bro,
fucking nuts.
We're July.
Yeah. Yeah. In
And-
6 months.
In 6 months, I'm leg pressing 838 pounds
Yeah.
and squatting.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
Like I think I squatted like I'm still not pushing all the limits, but like I'm squatting like good form, like 200 pounds.
Sure.
And but I was afraid, man. Like I was afraid to do it. And so the you know, in all the ways I've progressed, I think the mind.
Right? Because it's not like, yeah, that's just wild, man. It's wild. It's like, yeah, your body was deteriorating, but because your body was deteriorating, it naturally affects the will, right? Like your will is dying with your body, right? As time's progressing and your body's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, it's like that will, right? And to be able to That's why I said, were you having any suicidal thoughts
Yeah.
throughout this whole process?
Yeah.
Because it's like, as your body is deteriorating, I would imagine I would probably be like, fuck this.
Oh gosh. I mean,
That's probably where my brain would go. Like if I would got after
Yeah.
that many years, if I'm honest with myself and
Yeah.
as strong as I think that I am,
Yeah.
it would just probably get to a point where you know what, fuck this.
Yeah.
This is too much. My quality of life is too low. Fuck this. So I would understand having those thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that's a natural,
Yeah.
right?
It's like, all right, enough's enough. Like,
Something changed in me where I decided I was going to start showing up for me.
dude, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, remember, like, when did you start liking yourself?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
great,
Like,
yeah.
When did you
Yo,
start? Like,
listen,
what was the time when you were like, I fucking
Well, I
like
started
this
to
guy?
emotionally, mentally deal with liking myself. I know exactly. Remember, I talked about Fred Rogers, right? I talked about remembering the people who have loved you into being the person that you are. And so I remember going to coffee with my good friend Tom Andino, who I respect probably more than any person, maybe, right? It's like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And he took me to coffee when I was in the throes of depression, and he just allowed me to. He didn't judge me, but he allowed me to talk.
Sure.
And there was never one point in time where he told me I was wrong for thinking the way I was thinking, but I
Yeah.
just told him flat out, hey, I've been thinking about killing myself.
Yeah. And he was probably like, I don't blame that thought.
He sat across from me and he said, tell me about it.
Yeah.
You know, the power of an open-ended question
Right.
and non-judgmental ears.
Yeah.
Is so powerful and
Life changing.
and you know, I think he said to me, you don't get to decide. Like, I used to say this thing and be like, I'm so afraid to be a burden to other people, so why do I want to stay around if I'm just going to burden other people with my brokenness?
Sure.
And he said to me in that coffee meeting, once I had spoken for a while, he said, well, you don't get to make that choice for me.
That's a good response.
Right?
That's a good response. That's not your choice.
It's not your choice.
Yeah.
You don't get to decide.
I can stop taking care of you when I want to stop taking care of you. That's
That's
my
right.
choice, not your choice.
Right.
You be alive and you be living, and I'll choose when the time comes when I
Right.
said, okay, I've had enough.
Right.
You don't ever think about it that way.
That's right. And so that was a powerful thing.
That is powerful.
And I realized, you know what? I'm more than a burden. Right? I am a beautiful, breathing and existing human being. And then I still was like in the throes of not being able to leave home.
Sure.
And so
Yeah.
I started doing a little bit. I started writing a book at that time called The Self-Love Journey, which I'm still writing. I've got like 75 pages written and I just haven't finished it. And it was just about the little practices that you adapt or you can build in order to kind of find the things that bring you joy and bring you to life. And learning how to love yourself again. And I think for me, that journey started with me being honest with myself. Not running from myself, but just being honest with saying like, hey, like I am depressed, right? And I am not in my best place.
Yeah.
And I started to go to work on that. Another thing, at that time, I started a men's fellowship group,
Yep.
Across the Nations Fellowship, that's still in existence to this day.
Yeah.
We meet every Thursday night with no agenda online.
Yeah, that's
My
nice.
friends all around the country.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it is a group of like, it's just a few of us. It's like 8 of us, 9 of us. And we've been meeting since 2020.
That's cool.
And that group of guys, there's no agenda. There's no Bible study. There's no, sometimes we pray. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we watch movies together.
Yeah, nice.
And we're just guys.
yeah, it's just that camaraderie, that connection, that
Yeah.
transparency.
And they started to push me. They started to challenge me in a healthy, in a loving, embracing way. And they, you know, hey, when are you going to finish that degree? Hey, when are you going to finish the book?
Yeah.
Hey, when are you going to start a business?
Yeah.
Hey, when are you going to get back to living?
Yeah.
And
that's
so
good
their
shit.
friendship, and Tom's actually a member of that group as
nice.
well, and their friendship, and like a good friend Nick Berger's one of my best friends, one of the most talented musicians I've ever met. He would come meet with me because I couldn't leave the house.
Yeah.
He'd come to my house at like 5 or 4 in the morning and
Jeez.
sit on the front porch and drink coffee with me so we could just talk.
Nice.
Talk about a friend.
Yeah.
Right? And he would just come to hang, just come talk.
Yeah. That's
And he
good
would
shit.
come, he would prefer me by coming at that time.
Yeah.
And same thing. We started having deep conversations and deep calls onto deep.
Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. It's like that. Yeah.
So one day at a time,
Right? Like we
Right?
always say.
you know?
Yeah, it's wild, man. The power of all that, right? Like that's all that in a nutshell, right? The power of the will, right? The power of self-love, the power of deep friendship, right? The power of honesty,
Honesty.
right? Self-honesty, power of self-evaluation, the power of all these like each one of those are like a lifelong process,
Yeah.
right, of learning.
Yeah.
Just and it's like it's crazy. It's crazy like we always talk about like the gym, right? We always talk
Yeah,
about like the gym
absolutely.
and the muscle and
Absolutely.
and the growth and the physical end of it. And it's such like we talk about all the time like how it's such an amazing like metaphor for life.
Yeah.
Right? Because you just it could be so easy to just live a real fleshy life.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
It can be really, really easy.
So easy.
Just go work, come home,
Yep.
eat your food, whatever it is.
Play your video
Just Play your
games.
video games, which are all like really fun, enjoyable.
Yeah, nothing wrong.
But they're so linear,
Yeah.
right? Like they're so like to the ground, right? Where it's like it's kind of like just imagine if you stopped at the 1 minute planks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
Oh,
Like
it's so
that's
good.
cool, right?
So good.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Like
Yeah.
1 minute plank,
Yeah.
right? Like that's cool. Like that's neat. Like that is a good step. But now it's 890-pound leg lifts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like think about like the that
Transition,
just that, right? And it's like the same thing with our mind, right? It's like the same shit where it's like these little things, these little tiny like beginnings of oh, I don't like it how like just to come to understand, and I mean this is something that's actually way deep in thought, where you realize the negative thoughts that you're telling yourself.
So
That's not
good.
a beginning,
Right.
That's like after
Right.
you've done like fucking so many hours of self-analyzation,
dude.
where
Yep.
you're like, ooh, I don't like how I talk to myself.
Yeah,
So
dude.
I don't even know what the beginning of mental strength looks like.
Yeah.
But it just the depth that your brain can get to, the depth that your heart can get to, your will can get to, your love can get to, all that shit. It's just it's eternal.
Yeah.
Like it never ends.
Right.
Like the body. Like you can push it to it. Like there's no limit. You
Right.
just keep going and going and going. Of course, there's limits of weight.
Sure.
Your body can only push so much.
Sure.
But there's not a limit to a will.
That's right.
Push it farther.
That's
David
right.
fucking Goggins.
That's it. Yep.
Right? Like
Go,
he
go,
ran
go.
like 500-mile marathons in a row or something like that.
Something stupid.
Like
yeah.
there's no like you can push it and push it and push it, and it's like when you take that and you think, holy fuck, and when we do this to our bodies,
Yeah.
right? Like I was 130 pounds when I started working.
Yeah.
out. I was this scrawny.
Yeah.
Fucking. I looked like I was starving.
Yeah.
All my
I've seen
my
pictures.
chest and my
I've seen
bones,
pictures.
veins. You could just see everything.
Yeah.
And it's like we've seen and like we've seen these transitions, that we've seen this growth in our body.
Yeah.
And it's like the same shit in our brains, right? The same shit in our fucking
Yeah.
our willpower and our mental capacity.
Nothing happens in the physical without first existing in the mind.
100%. Right? 100%
We are much more like trees than we realize.
100%.
Like, have you ever like seen a tree
So
that's been
true.
cut down you see rings.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's aged, and it's grown, and it's many days. Now you don't see it grow overnight, because if you were waiting to see progress overnight, you're probably not going to see much, right?
No,
but over time, the idea, the vision, the belief, self-love, you grow.
Yeah.
You get bigger, you get stronger. Your mind gets stronger. You start to believe in things. There's a great scripture that says, that you will basically, I think it's in Ephesians, is like more beyond anything that you could think or imagine
or grasp. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you start with a small thought or a seed, and you begin to believe just there.
Yeah.
I started with planks on the floor while no one was there.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I had decided I am going to become stronger than I've ever been. I am going to build a weapon of compassion and kindness.
Right.
I am going to become better than I've ever been before. And I'm going to do it one day at a time.
Yeah, that to me, like as you're talking, like I'm thinking in my head, like that one day at a time thing, right? Like if you think about where your mind was when you were 17, like you asked me that question, like what was your thing? And my body and mind would not, I would literally implode if I were to take who I am now and put it into that 17-year-old.
Oh yeah.
It would be like a robot, right?
Not
it would just
ready.
and it would just fucking self-destruct.
That's right.
Like that body wasn't equipped for everything that's here now, because it's like every day.
That's right.
Right. Every day. And it's like it goes back to fucking the gym, like the dieting, right? It's like every day I take my AG1.
Yep.
Every day I take my test boost. Every day I take my vitamins. Every day I take my protein. Every day I'm taking my creatine, right? It's like every day I'm pouring good shit into my body, right? And it's like, well, you're not going to just the next day be like, ooh, now I'm fucking this fit. It's just every single day.
Every day.
It's like every day. And the same thing with fucking self-thought and self-doubt and self-hate and all that shit.
Yeah.
And it's like today, right now, at whatever at 8:23, whatever time it is, I love me.
Yeah. I'm going to love
me.
I'm going to love me, all the broken parts.
That's right. Right
all
now.
the messed up parts.
Right now. I'm going to fucking be in it. I'm going to fucking make good decisions. I'm going to make strong, whatever decisions are going to lead to fucking prosperity and good shit right now at 8:23. I don't know about 8:33.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? I don't know what the fuck's going to happen then. But I know right the fuck
Yeah.
now, like I'm making like good, strong decisions for me. Just like with our fucking diet.
That's it.
Right? Just like when we wake up in the morning, we take our fucking cold shower, which we don't want to fucking do.
Right.
We know it's going to create so much good shit going on.
Turn on the faucet.
That's right. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to lift and I'm going to pump and I'm going to then I'm going to go to fucking kick ass.
That's it.
And it's like every day, every moment, just making the series of good, strong, healthy decisions.
One after the other.
And then 10 years from now, you're like, holy fuck, there'd
cow.
be no way that I could take who I am now and put it into my 38-year-old
That's
mind.
it.
Right? Like, it's like, it just keeps getting better and better
That's
and better
it.
and better.
Progress.
Oh.
Progress is progress.
It's fucking great.
Progress is progress. It is always you versus you.
Yeah, constantly. So this girl at the gym had that hoodie on today. It said you versus you.
That's it.
And I was like, oh, damn, that's good shit.
You know, one of the coolest things anyone can do, I think, is to learn how to believe that they themselves are cool without having that detract from anyone else's coolness.
Yeah.
Like for me, for example, if I look in the mirror, I know what I've been through and I am proud of who I am becoming, and I'm excited about who I'm becoming.
Oh yeah.
Now, there's tons of things I want to improve.
Sure.
Right? Just like when you go to the gym.
Everything.
You get a good pump, you get a good workout, and you're like, oh, this one thing looks good, but this other thing looks puny, right? Or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And there's tons of things about me I want to improve or change. I'm not done yet. I am a student of life for life.
Yeah.
I am a student of life.
Hell yeah.
For life.
Hell yeah.
I am continually growing. The lesson is learned when the student arrives. So when you show up and say there is something to be learned, you are preparing yourself to grow. there is nothing so powerful as a thought. A thought transforms everything. And
it's the seed, right?
That's the seed. We are much more like trees than we realize, and because it starts in the mind, it starts with the vision. And I think if you can get to a point where you look in the mirror, and at the very least you say, you know, it's messy, but it's still a piece of art.
Hell yeah, dude. I think that's something that it takes a long time. And I don't know. We're still fucking young, but it takes, and I haven't even fully believed yet. I don't know, but to really appreciate what the fucking human being is, like who we are as humans, it's pretty fucking wild, man.
Yeah,
like we're these structures of sinew and blood.
Yep.
And yet we're these souls.
Yeah.
Right. Like, or spirits, or whatever the hell is going on inside of us with emotion, and whether it's chemical or it's spiritual or whatever it is, it's like the capacity that we have is just incredible. I just tried to watch Terrence Howard and Eric Weinstein on Rogan, and they just talked for 5 hours about shit that I have absolutely no fucking clue what the hell they were talking about.
Absolutely.
Man. And I'm just like these brains and they're showing all these fucking tangential, spherical bullshit, geometric shit. Like the depth that their fucking brains have gotten to, that just explaining the universe in just the teeniest fucking atom is just incredible. Yeah. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
Our capacity is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And it's like when you look in the mirror.
That's right.
Right? And maybe you're not going to be, measuring total dodecahedrons or whatever the hell they're doing. Yeah. But that doesn't minimize the power and the grandiose fucking amazing ability that your brain and mind and body have. It's like we are fucking wild creatures with so much fucking potential, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy the amount of potential.
That's it. Yeah, and I think potential begins with intentional living.
Yes.
And
yes, 100%.
And like when you're a leader, it's usually because you've made a determination to serve a specific 100%. Cause. Yeah. And you have become intentional. And so like I might not be president of the United States. You know what I mean? I don't know. We got to think about it. But I'm pretty sure I'm not president of the United States. Yeah. But just because I'm not president of the United States doesn't mean that I'm any less important.
No, exactly.
And so instead of placing a position on my purpose, I'm going to show up today.
That's right.
And affect whoever's in my little bubble. Yeah. And I'm going to try to impact everyone around me in my little world, my little sphere. Yeah. And I'm going to be intentional about every conversation, because I'm never going to know when my last conversation is. Yeah. And this might be it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like on that note about like just you're going to be in this moment, whoever you are, to the people in your sphere, right? It's like we think about the greats, right? Whoever the great is, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, like whether they were good, evil, bad, whatever, the most influential people in the world. Let's just take people of influence, people that have made the most influence, right? And we think about all that: Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, whoever it is, Mahatma Gandhi, whatever, Jesus Christ. But what we forget, and we never really think about, is who inspired them, right? Like they all have somebody. Right. Gandhi has somebody. Yep. Jordan has somebody. Kobe has somebody. Everybody has somebody that without that inspiration, without that spark, without that teacher, that coach, they wouldn't be who they are. That's right. And it's like So who's the fucking hero, right?
Yeah.
Take that person out that was just being open and willing and loving, but no one even knows who they are. They don't even exist in the realm of history.
Yep.
But without that human, that great person doesn't even exist.
Yo,
And
listen,
it's like, fuck, dude. Like, we think that, like, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. Well, then, yeah, you are that. You are that just by being you and being available and being free and
That's
being
so
open
good.
and just being whatever it is that you are in this moment to whoever needs to be that.
Yeah.
Because that fucking person that you're talking to, like, that could be the next fucking female president. Like, that could
That's
be
it.
the next one. That could be the next generation of whoever is going to be fucking great.
Yeah. I always like to say, being you is a superpower nobody else has.
Right? Yeah, there's only one.
There's lots of people like you.
Yeah, no, only
Lots of
one
gym
you,
bros
though.
out there
That's right.
that don't work out on their legs.
You son of a bitch.
Still in better shape than me, bro.
That's funny.
But
I
there-
work the legs.
But you
just
do
not as much as I
just
should.
not as much. But you do be working them, but
Anyways,
not
keep
as much. But
going.
anyways, that's a whole different conversation
Yeah.
for a different day.
That's right.
You know, hold on, one note on that. On a working out, I was reading an article the other day that when you work out your legs, your bone marrow production increases drastically.
Yeah.
So actually,
and
like,
testosterone.
that's it. And
Yeah.
so but anyways,
I
that's a
know.
whole
It's
different
huge.
tangent.
That's why I make sure to do it at least once a week.
So there are tons of people similar to you, but there is no other Mark Barone,
Hell yeah.
right? And so that means you're a superpower. In fact, it is we are always the rarest resource on this planet.
Crazy. There's only one.
There's only one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
But here on the other hand, so that's in one hand, that's a really special thing.
Yeah.
On the other hand, here's another thought, and this will mess with your mind maybe. 80 to 100 years from now, no one will know you lived.
Yeah. That fucking wild.
You're going to be dead, and the world's going to keep turning, unless the whole world's dead at that point in time. 'Cause
Nobody remembers
it's pretty
anyone.
rough.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
So if you can do those two things at once of understanding how special you are, while at the same time not thinking you're better than other people, and then at the same time realizing how small each of us is,
Yeah. And how small of a window.
and
we
how
have of
small of a
time.
window of time,
Yeah.
then you become a powerful person. You are set free.
Yeah.
Because the obligation to be the best person ever, it's over. You're not going to win.
That's right.
You're not going to win that competition because it's only you versus you. So you decide to show up as you because no one else can do that. Other people can mimic,
Yeah.
but they can't be you.
Yeah.
So, and then you look in the mirror, you say, you know, it's messy around the edges, but it's still a piece of art.
It is.
And then at the same time, you realize, like, well, you know what? I don't have to have a position to have purpose.
Amen.
I don't need to wait for a
100%.
title. If I'm going to be an actor, I don't have to be an Oscar-winning actor. I just got to act. If I like to act, just act. If I'm a singer, I don't have to win a Grammy to be
Yeah.
a singer.
Yeah.
Who are you to tell me if I'm a singer or not?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if I'm a bodybuilder, I might not be Arnold Schwarzenegger or The Rock or whoever, but I'm living my own fitness journey, and it's pretty powerful.
Hell yeah.
And when I get my hands on some of the practical certifications, it's going to be a powerful tool.
Hell yeah.
Because it's mine. It's me. It's unique.
Yeah.
And I own it, and you don't get to take it from me.
Yeah.
And that's powerful.
It is. It is, man. That living, I guess. We could just go for fucking days. We could just talk for days.
Yeah.
But I think what's one cool thing is that to be able, I guess if there was one thing that I would like to really be able to master is to be able to live to my absolute fullest potential. Right? And what's fucking crazy is that we have no idea what that is. Right? We have no idea like what the cap is on our individual fullest potential.
Yeah.
Everything that we could be.
Yeah.
It's like we have no clue. We have no idea. And it's like this we're in this race, or we're just fucking moving forward on this track. We're in this rut, whatever you want to call it, in this fucking canoe moving.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we have no idea like what it is that we're moving into.
Right.
But it's fucking great.
It is.
Or it's dog shit because we
Right.
don't think we have a lot of potential and we think we're just
Yeah.
and we're just fucking kicking rocks as we go through this life and we're just fucking doing our thing and we're like whatever, or we're depressed, or sorry, I shouldn't say depressed. We are angry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or we're some distracted. Right. I feel like depression shouldn't be in the same category as that.
Yeah, because
It's very, very different. But it's whatever is self-inflicting. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I should say. Like how all this self-inflicting stones and barriers and walls that we're putting up, because we put them all up. No one puts barriers in front of us. You know, like we and if they are putting barriers, we have the full potential as the humans that we are. Which again is really difficult, because then you could go down into a whole realm. Some people have far more walls to jump over than others.
Yeah.
Right. Some people are far more privileged, far more wherever they were birthed, in what part of history and what location. All those things lead to have so much more ease of potential than some people that are born in other areas of the world and other time frames of history. But all those fucking variables in place, we're still humans. We still have crazy potential.
That's it.
And the potential is absolutely limitless.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just an insane thought to think like, it's boundless. It's limitless. I can be fucking incredibly great.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, dude. Just to be able to be self-inspirational, right? To not need a YouTube video, or not need or anything, but just to be able to look in the mirror, look at yourself, look at who you are, see where you've come, see how far you've come, and just know like, holy fuck, like, and I haven't even scratched the surface that is fucking Justin, right? I haven't even fucking gone through the doorway. I'm just in the fucking doorway right now, like, of this vast fucking wonderland of fucking freedom and love and immense potential.
That's it.
It's like, Jesus.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
powerful.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's almost like eternal. It's like, it's just a very strange thought that these fleshy beings can create this universe.
That's it.
Right? Each one of us has this universe of potential. It's like, what in the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. There's I think it's Marcus Aurelius,
he's great.
or Epictetus. It's one of the two.
One of the Stoics.
Yeah, one of the Stoics that says, if you want to be an emperor, rule thyself.
Fuck yeah. It's so true, man.
And you know, I think that it's such a thing as like, we're all like limitless potential, but only if we get plugged in the right way. That's right. And plugged in, I think that means a lot of things for different people, right? And that's a conversation for a different day. Yeah. But
taking the appropriate steps.
Yeah, it's the intentional living really is what it is. Yeah. And just and deciding that I'm going to endeavor.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to endeavor to learn and grow, and I'm going to give myself grace and time. I'm going to allow myself to grow in every season. Yeah. I'm going to embrace the season I'm in. And sometimes the season looks like 105 pounds and can't leave home with a walker. Yep. And you say, this season sucks a little bit. I don't like it. It's not my preferred. Yeah. But that's the season I am in. And I'm going to figure out what's beautiful about this season. That Ecclesiastes, for everything there is a season. Yeah. And just realizing the season you're in, and realizing that even the worst of seasons is beautiful for something. Like winter. Yeah. It's magical. It is awful
Yeah.
when it comes to cold and bitter and having
Yeah.
to shovel.
Sure.
But it is magical. It's
And necessary.
beautiful and necessary.
Yeah.
And spring is beautiful for being spring, and summer for being summer, and fall for being fall.
Yeah.
Death creates space
That's right.
for life.
Yep.
And heartbreak teaches you about love.
Absolutely. With the yin and yang,
The
without
yin
light,
and the
without
yang.
dark, there is
That's
no
right.
light. You
That's
gotta have
it.
both.
And so if you can learn to appreciate and learn to understand the season, to embrace it, you don't have to necessarily love it, but just be honest about it.
That's right.
Like I've got, when I had the balance issues, I can't run yet.
Right.
Yeah. I can't jump yet.
That's right.
I'm afraid to lift too much weight without falling over.
Yep.
And you laugh at it, and you live with levity and love. That's what the real life Patch Adams says. He's always live with levity and love. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at your shortcomings. Laugh at the little silly things. Be willing to laugh. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
And love. Find love. Find out how to love yourself in that. But here's the thing: like loving yourself doesn't have to be a self-centric, selfish thing.
Yeah.
You could definitely get that twisted.
Of course.
But learn how to respect yourself at the very
That's
least.
right.
And respecting yourself means
Be nice to yourself.
Be nice to yourself. Talk better to yourself.
Yes.
It don't. Like most people, if you heard you said this earlier, if they heard the soundtrack that spoke to you in the privacy of your own mind, they would punch that person right in the face because it's awful.
Yeah.
And
we're pretty mean to ourselves.
Pretty mean, man. But if you can learn how to respect yourself enough to give yourself a shot and learn how to start showing up for yourself, because no one's going to show up for you. Even the people you think are going to show up
not
for
as
you.
Not as much as they need to for you to fucking be where you need to be.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you'll make good friends that are really good. I've mentioned some of mine already, and
but it's up to you.
But it's gonna be up to you.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're gonna find out real quick who really cares about you. But you've got to, at the very least, learn how to talk to yourself. And give yourself the time of day.
Hell yeah.
Like respect yourself enough to dream.
Hell yeah.
And then hold yourself accountable to
That's right.
to what you're gonna do. Like results don't lie.
That's right.
You you can lie to yourself and say like you have a lazy day at the gym.
Yeah.
You have a lazy month at the gym, whatever.
Right.
And you think,
yeah, you see it.
Yeah, you'll see it. You can lie about it. You can say I worked out real hard.
Yeah.
But the truth is, the results don't lie.
That's right.
And so whatever you put in, you will reap what you have sown.
That's right.
And so you're gonna find out. So you can't lie to yourself when it comes to your progress, because your progress is gonna tell the story.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah, man. Justin, this was great.
It's the best.
Thanks for chilling.
This is awesome.
We're gonna do it again and again and again and again.
It's great.
Yeah, I really
so much fun.
I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate all you've been through. Appreciate you sharing and all that stuff. And yeah, love you, man. Thanks for coming.
Love you too, man. And thanks for becoming a friend and coming up and talking to me at the gym.
Yeah.
Now we're friends.
Awesome. All right.
Isn't that dope?
It's dope as fuck. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. See you later.